Mm. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is Daily Devotional with Red Moon Eagle. It is January 10th, 2024, and it is Wednesday morning. Astra has been back and forth. I don't know if she's going to come up in the lap yet, but we'll find out. We are in the tide of destruction, the winter solstice to the spring equinox. And I would love it if you subscribe and join the channel. Hit the little bell icon or go to the subscribe button, and if you hit the subscribe button, there will be a little down arrow, and you can hit the get notifications, all, and I go live every morning, Monday through Friday, most Monday through Fridays. Occasionally, I will post a banked video, one that I have filmed in advance, but there are more than 365 days of daily devotions available for use. So I encourage you, if you join and you're like, yeah, this doesn't really fill me with joy today, go pick another one. There's a lot of them. We're going to start with um, abundance planning. That's the self-care card that we pulled today. I attract a level of abundance in alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature. Your financial health is an essential aspect of your overall wellness practice. It's time to take a closer look at how you're spending, saving, and making money. Doing so will help you get clear of your financial status. The journal prompt today is, what is your family's relationship with money like when you were growing up, and how has that impacted your relationship with money today? I'm going to go a little deeper into this in a little bit. The animal card we picked today is actually in this animal spirit guidebook, there's actually a section of spirit animals, and this one is the sea serpent. And it's a little bit longer, so I'm going to show you the card. Sea serpent. Healing emotional wounds, expressing desires. The sea serpent represents the energy of expression. Whether it's emotions, creativity, sensuality, or desire, the sea serpent helps us move and direct our energy into a healthy current. When the essence of this card is in balance, we express ourselves creatively and sexually without fear or shame. We know what we desire most. Our hearts are at ease and our relationships are meaningful and enduring. We loosen the grip of self-judgment, and we let the cool waters of forgiveness in to heal our wounds. When the energy of the sea serpent is not yet activated, our emotions and creativity are left in the muddy waters. The current of expression stagnates in some areas of our lives, and in other places it floods. It's important to remember, no matter what the waters of our emotional lives look like, the sea serpent loves us just the same. Like a mother, she wraps herself around us in the gesture of protection. She supports us as we learn to express our true natures. And the sea serpent is connected to the second chakra. The subtle energy of the sea serpent occupies the area of the Sthudavasana chakra, located deep within the pelvic bowl. This chakra is known as our center of creativity and desire. It is associated with the water element. Sthudavasta translates as in her own abode, indicating this chakra is the home of the Divine Mother, or the Kundalini herself. Okay, I'll go a little deeper into that too here in a minute. And our Mystical Shaman Oracle Guidebook card is the Seer. And this card is so beautiful, the Seer. We have birds, we have animals. Of the Seer represents the capacity to reach beyond the obvious details of life into the hidden realms where information is available to those with the discernment to perceive it. This symbol represents psychic perception, intuition, and the capacity to know something without prior exposure. The seer knows truth, always seeks truth beyond all else, and sees reality as it is truly without judgment. The seer can read between the lines and understand what is not being said. He represents the power of clarity and being able to recognize patterns. The invitation of the seer invites you to trust your intuition and follow it as it leads you forward. You may feel lost when it appears that your hunch is taking you in circles, or even through a maze, but the hidden realms don't follow the rules of a two-dimensional map. Trust your gut and allow your perception of your circumstances to widen to include the nuances and subtle clues that you normally miss if you take things at face value. The seer has gifted you with his magic. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Your vision is clear. The medicine of the seer has arrived now to challenge you to get out of denial and begin telling yourself the truth about your situation. Wishful thinking will not make what you want or what you desire to happen when you're refusing to see things as they are. The truth may hurt, but it will set you free to claim the bounty that is waiting for you to notice it. This is a moment of true power. The seer offers you his medicine. When you are ready, surrender your vision to spirit and ask to be shown the truth no matter the price. Once you do so, your eyes will open and you will receive a powerful gift. Okay. Seeing truth, reality without judgment, reading between the lines and understanding what is not being said, understanding the patterns, trusting circumstances to widen and include the nuances and subtle cues that you would normally miss if you take things at face value. The truth may hurt, but it will set you free to claim the bounty that is waiting for you to notice it. That's the Seer card. And we're going to go all the way back to the abundance planning. So the mantra, I attract a level of abundance and alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature. So I went to this amazing women's circle that if you're in the local area, I highly recommend you look up Molly Whalen. She is amazing. And I love being able to go to something that I don't have to lead occasionally. It's nice. And I don't mean that as in have to lead. I have an amazing amount of privilege that I can teach and lead circles and do a lot of things. And Daily Devotions is a great deal of joy. I bring that joy every day into my life, that I have the privilege to bring this to you. But I got to do something, and I've been starting to try to make it part of my month, where I go to this women's circle, and it is an amazing circle led by an amazing individual. And she talked about in setting intention, and I've talked about setting intention before, and I liked how she phrased it. And I don't know if I've said this before, so if I have, I'm on repeat, and I apologize, but it's worth repeating if I have said it already, because she said it. And when I read these cards this morning, it's been swirling around in the back of my head. One of the things about intentions is that you don't set intentions about yesterday, and you don't set intentions about tomorrow. You set intentions about right now, in the moment, right now, the aliveness of right now. And in the body of nine, and looking at things through the body of nine lens, natural number 6 is the natural number that is bringing that superpower of being able to see what is alive right now and direct focus on that. And well, 3 is focus, but 6 is knowing what's alive now and being able to move with that. Okay. and they can magnify anything that's thrown at them, positive or negative. So when I think about six energy, and I'm lifting my chest, and I'm going to bring that six energy into this, and I think about this abundance card, right? Abundance planning. Okay. So all the mantras in this book, I had wondered why I drew this guidebook, because it's not an oracle deck I would normally have put in the bucket, but it was recommended, and I drew it, and I was like, okay, I'll order it. I just don't know why, and I know why. It kind of hit me this morning as I was reading this. Every mantra in this little book is a now mantra. It's an intention of now. And part of daily devotions is prayer, it's connection, it's themed focused. It's about carrying forward. And for me, it's about connecting in, finding my place of peace, being in the now, and being prepared for heading out into the world to interact with everyone else. And today's mantra in abundance planning, with the abundance planning card, I attract a level of abundance in alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature, which then brings us to the journal prompt. What is your family's relationship with money like when you were growing up? How has that impacted your relationship with money? And so really there's this connection between our ideas of what abundance is and the reality of what abundance is in our touch it, feel it, taste it world, and this card, the Seer, right? Not upside down, the Seer. What is really going on? What's the truth of the situation? And can I be honest with myself about my relationship to money and where it comes from in my family, and where does it come from in your family? I will tell you that my mother's family comes from generations of poverty, generations of Southern families living in a combination of cultural, ethnic, racism, poverty, and the Civil War. I mean, I grew up in the South in many ways. I grew up, there was a good 12, 13 years that I lived in the South before I left. And the trauma of poverty after the Civil War was horrible. And the cultural, racist subjugation of people prior to the Civil War and after the Civil War is awful. Colonialism in the South, the Indian Removal Act, there's just so much complexity of cultural trauma in the South. So my mother's family has a terrible relationship with money. And there is a deep level of fear of not having food, not having shelter. There's alcoholism. There is some deep wounds in my mother's family. And on my father's side of the family, there is trauma there about money, which mostly comes from the Great Depression. But prior to the Great Depression, it seems on both sides of my family that I've been able to do research is that there is more of that immigrant perspective of coming to the new world and finding a better place and starting and scraping from scratch and being a part of the genocide of Native people. So neither sides of my family have a healthy relationship with what does abundance look like. And there is a great deal of leftover thinking from the 60s, 70s, and 80s of this last century of if you just work hard, it'll happen. And in reality, um, we have to work through our trauma. We have to work through the uncomfortableness. And how has this impacted my relationship to money? I have spent the first 50 years of my life going between the juxtaposition of the universe is going to take care of me, and as long as I don't worry about it, it's all going to be okay, to, oh my goodness, I have to worry about it and I have to plan every single little thing. And also with ADHD, the random compulsive, or random, compulsive is not the word I'm looking for, but the random spending, impulsive, there we go, not compulsive, the random impulsive spending. And then another juxtaposition where my mother was and is a hoarder. She hoards. I mean, I never ever want to be involved when she passes with any of that because that's just awful. To my father, who is not a hoarder and who is trying to manage it, right? And what do you do when your spouse has a mental health issue, right? And so my life is every year I go through everything, I clean and I get rid of stuff. And I'm always being very critical with myself. I'm using the Seer card to say, what is my relationship to the thing? Is that relationship healthy? Do I really need the thing? Um, and what is this doing? Is it cluttering my life? Is it creating a dynamic? And the sea serpent card, the energy of expression, emotions, creativity. This card, we express ourselves creatively and sexually without fear or shame. We know what we desire most. Our hearts are at ease and our relationships are meaningful and enduring. We loosen the grip of self judgment. We let the cool waters of forgiveness in to heal our wounds. So, one of the big things that comes up with all three cards is the connection to what abundance looks like in creative flow and connection to other people. And um, the mantra in this card, in this book, I attract a level of abundance and alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature. One of the things about abundance that I have, I would say probably about, well, it was probably about 2 years before I left the medical clinic, I started really looking at reframing my own internal dialogue about abundance because I was really and have always been really upset with, and not upset, but frustratedly feeling as though it was an uphill battle to have a conversation about abundance, and people were always talking about money. But then they would twist it, and it would be a conversation about money using the word abundance to avoid the conversation about money. So it was almost like creating this karmic muddiness in the conversation that would confuse me. And so I started really doing my own self evaluation. And one of the things that I came to a really powerful connection with that I have struggled with because my husband, dear blessed soul that he is, he, when I stepped out from working underneath someone else, right? Like, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do my own business. Um, One of the things that he really had a panic about was he doesn't make enough money to support both of us and all of our bills. And he already works in a job that he truly hates, and that's his own journey. Um, but the panic of not having a regular paycheck coming from an outside source is an uncomfortable thing for him. It creates this very uncomfortable place. And that's his journey. but we live together and we're in a relationship, so we have to deal with this. And I had to really allow him and his energy over there to be his journey, and I had to trust that abundance is connection. And it is very much this mantra of attracting abundance that aligns with my self-worth. My self-worth and my purpose has nothing to do with the dollar sign. My purpose and worth has to do with connection and doing teaching and mentoring and coaching and daily devotions and all the things that I love to do. And now Body of Nine has now enriched that so much, and connecting with Molly and going to this group of beautiful women that are learning to lift each other up. Um, and there's another women's group that I'm loosely affiliated with, and doing podcasts and really stepping into the place where I have this, and I'm going to use the word finally, I finally feel like I can step into this place of resonance and power and align all my actions with my self-worth and my perception, and in the mantra, I attract a level of abundance and alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature. And I feel as though my giving, my constant giving, the universe does take care of me. It takes care of me by the connections that I make with my clients, my friends, the connections I make with other professionals, and they refer people to me. And those references fill the coffers that allow me to continuously do what I do with stepping into this power. And so I wrote like 3 pages this morning on this daily devotional, and it probably sounds a little disjointed to y'all because I'm touching on just very specific points that I wanted to cover. But one of the big things that I encourage you to do is take this mantra today and really sit with it. Write this down. I attract a level of abundance in alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature. And I'll say it again. I attract a level of abundance in alignment with my self-worth and reflective of my generous nature. Do you hear that? That's like a now statement. This is an intention of now. I am bringing this toward me. And the shadow of working through how to keep that mantra positively aligned with the now is using the Seer card and being able to be truthful with yourself and say, how did I grow up? What was my relationship with money as a kiddo? And how has that impacted my connection to money now? I have had to work through this over and over and over again in my life. And I have not always been successful at it. I've been epically bad at it a couple times for chunks of time. And some of that, in reality, is taking on the karmic connection with someone else's trauma. My mother's trauma, her mother's trauma and fear, uh, my father's worry about money, um, my husband's worry about money, um, my own internal pressure of rising to the expectation of needing to worry about money. And in reality, when I have let all of that go, when I have let and trusted, the universe has taken care of me and taken care of me in a way that I can take care of others in a really, truly symbiotic, sea serpent inspired very connected, freeing, smooth. And when I talk about that place of bliss, that connection, that place of connection, that place of bliss, that place of peace within me, when I trust it and let all those expectations go, it works out. And it works out in a way that it's not flippant. It's not somebody else is taking care of me. It's not flippant. It's not this expectation that I deserve to be taken care of by someone else, or I'm gonna demand or get things, or it's not an ego-based thing. If anything, it's a release of the ego. It's a release of my connection to a thing, right? Because money is a made up, so societal conception that we have to create an exchange of energy. Um, and we can exchange energy in a lot of different ways. We can trade, we can give gifts, we can give money, we can do tips, we can do things like that. Tips are so hard for me. Because, and I'll say that, and then I'll caveat that with, I made myself a little painted box so that when people want to tip or hand me money, they put it in this box. And the box is the representation of I accept the abundance of the universe, but then I don't touch it until it's cleansed of any kind of ego attachment. I can let the ego attachment go, because no matter how much I've worked through this whole money thing, when somebody hands me cash, I still have a little bit of that guilt, shame, disappointment, fear, zing that comes from my childhood trauma of learning about money from people who are deeply traumatized by money. So see, I'm still working on it, and I'm real about it with you. So if you have trouble with abundance, if you have trouble with abundance planning, right? How do you plan? Go back to that mantra. Go back to the mantra and start there. So hopefully this helps you today. It's a little bit longer of a daily devotional. I've noticed that some of these are getting a little longer. I do recommend you go look up Molly Whalen. I cannot remember the name of her business. I apologize, Molly. But I do recommend going and looking that up. She does women-focused coaching, and she's very good at it. And for any of you women, myself included in this crowd of women who I am extraordinarily passionate about women standing into their power and holding their power with each other in a healthy way. Because we have been and done this to each other for generations, supported by culture and religion and government that don't allow us to step into our power. And I'm truly passionate about anyone who can do it in a healthy way. I've seen it tried. I really have, because I'm so passionate about it and I don't know how to do it. I have gone and searched out women supported activities for years, for decades. And Molly is doing a good job. And I would recommend her to anyone who is struggling with stepping into women power, your power as a woman. And I would recommend her to anyone. So I hope you all have a blessed day. I don't really promote a lot of other things on here, but this is something I believe in. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I will see you in prayer. Blessed be, my friends. Blessed be.